Okay, are we gonna start like a minute early? No, we're right on time. It's right. It's good. That clock's 2 minutes left. Just one point. Are we live on YouTube? All right. Welcome everybody. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we'll start with item 3, communications and the superintendent's report. I'll turn it over to Ms. Slosson.
Thank you. Excited to congratulate our class of 2020. We've had our first ever drive-through graduation. Our kids were very excited about a different kind of graduation, and just want to say congratulations to all of our graduates as well as our families and our teachers that made that happen. We had over 240 kids that successfully graduated. Also want to say thank you to Mr. Kalen Reed for his service as a board member. Also want to say thank you to Mr. Jim Freeman, Principal at Lebanon Elementary, Mr. Daniel Lockwood, Principal at Marion Middle School, and Mr. Jordan Williams, the Assistant Principal, Marion County Ninth Academy. These gentlemen are moving on to another adventure in their career, and we appreciate their work and effort while they were with us at Marion County. During the last few days of school, for our staff, our teachers did a fantastic job. They developed what we call learning continuums, and it gave us an opportunity to look at where students would be in a particular area and how students can actually accelerate in the curriculum, and in the event that maybe a child falls behind, it gives us an opportunity for some remediation and in the end, acceleration. Our staff did a great job also with developing things that we call a playlist. We felt like that it was very important to identify what the big rocks were when it came to teaching and learning, and especially like what is it that we want our kids to know and be able to do. And we're very focused in on that traditional learning and the technology that we are going to work with. There's a variety of resources that are being reviewed as we move forward. And just a big shout out to our staff as they did that work. Our weekly meal distributions that we participated in from March the 13th through May the 20th totaled 363,599 meals. Just so proud of the work and the effort that took place to make that happen. And as we closed that out and we began some new programs for our meals, we have 2 opportunities for our families. The first is the electronic benefit transfer. Each child has the opportunity to receive $313, and that is for the meals that were missed during that March and April time period, because Marion County Public Schools is a CEP district, which means that all of our students receive free lunch and free breakfast. So that's an opportunity. And then also, rather than parents and families picking up meals, we actually signed up to be a part of a Meals to You program through Baylor University. And those meals will actually be delivered to the home every 2 weeks. And I'm excited to say that we've had 2,332 children actually register. And so very excited about that. We're very optimistic that that's something that's going to be very helpful to our families, especially as folks go back to work. This will run through the month of June. And what I have told people is as we are given additional information, we will let you know what the month of July looks like. And hopefully we'll be back in school very soon. A social and emotional learning standards and curriculum for the entire district. That is an item, a consent item on our agenda. Now that's something that we've talked a lot about. Our social and emotional learning team presented to our district earlier, I think back in the winter. I don't want to recall the exact month. And we've talked a lot about that, but what we want to look at is what is it that kids need to know and be able to do when it comes to things like social situations or emotional situations. What do you do if you have a death in the family? What do you do if someone hurts your feelings? How do you do that? How is it that you can be a positive friend as you're going through that? And we've set that curriculum up from preschool all the way through 12th grade. We understand when we use the word curriculum, what we're really saying is we want to teach children and help them with that. Our 6 big dreams, I want to give a big shout out to our early childhood staff, as well as our directors here in this office, because right now with COVID, there are some restrictions on a lot of in-person opportunities, and we found a way to do an alternate screening process, because what we don't want to do is wait to the last minute to let parents know if their child qualifies. So we were very proactive. We went out and came up with a plan. Shannon Spartman, school psychologist, definitely helped us with that. We got on the phone with the Kentucky Department of Education, and we explained to them that we wanted to be proactive. And so I've even heard from a parent this week, and they talked to me about a teacher at West Marion that had called and actually been a part of that stream. And I don't think the parent will mind, but she said, "Can your child rhyme?" And she said, "I don't know. Let me ask." And she said, "Well, ask her if she knows what rhymes with bed." And the parent called the child's name, and she said, "What rhymes with bed?" And she said, "It's time to go night-night." So it was an example of that they did not know how to write, but we did that all through our just a telephone call. So I thought, what a cute story. That'll be a memory. So we are very pleased to also announce additional technology purchases. We are repurposing and replenishing our Chromebooks, and our Chromebooks is something that we use for a laptop, which is definitely a much, the rate's not as expensive as a laptop, so we can send those home with our kiddos, so we're doing that. Myself and Tracy Sharp participated in the Black Lives Matters walk yesterday here in Lebanon, along with several community members and people from across all walks of life. And so again, when we talk about market, connect, and communicate, there's lots of opportunities out there. And so glad to walk alongside of some former students and current students and some family members and our local police department. I've been a guest on Facebook Live with Judge Daugherty and Economic Development Director Pat Ford. Sent out a lot of information, especially about our meals program. So, and what I've told them is as things change and develop, I'll be glad to be a part of that conversation as well. So I would anticipate in a couple of weeks we're going to be getting some more information. We continue to have a weekly webcast with our Commissioner of Education, and typically about every 2 weeks we have a conversation with the governor, and he updates superintendents on about how things are moving forward. We're continuing communication. Our continuing mode of communication obviously is our website, social media. I want to encourage our parents, our family members, our community members. Please, if you want to know what's going on in Marion County Public Schools, please check out our website. We're keeping that up to date. We're going to let you know what's going on. Online registration, we are moving forward with that. One thing's for sure, we are going to start school. I know some folks have asked me when, and right now I'm going to tell you that we have our traditional calendar approved for August the 5th, but as things change and move forward, that could change. But I do know we're going to go back to school, and we will keep you posted on when that is and what that looks like. For instance, the next thing I want to share with you is the Marion County Sports Reentry Program. And the reason we have that is that the Kentucky High School Athletic Association, in conjunction with the CDC and the governor's office, has talked about how you can re-enter that program. That is an agenda item. I'd like to ask the board to look at that and hopefully approve that, and then we will be working with Lincoln Trail. I feel very confident in our plan. It is very much streamlined with those guidelines, and I want to say that our trainer, Miss Brittany, who works with court, has also been a part of that conversation. So we've got a lot of people sitting around the table that's very knowledgeable, not just about sports, but also about that reentry. Also want to let the community know that we are partnering with Cumberland Family Medical Health. They will be helping us with our reentry to school as well. We will actually have a person in this office designated as our health coordinator. That will be our point of contact. Cumberland Family Medical Health, they are our partners. We will have a nurse in every school, a nurse practitioner, and they reached out to me this week and wanted to know if it would be possible for them to provide COVID-19 testing at one of our parking lots. And I said, absolutely. So next Friday, June the 12th, we will have an opportunity to have that testing done at Marion County High School. Again, watch our website for those specific details. And then grants, we are continuing to apply for grants. And we actually received a grant just came in today, and that was one of the grants down at West Marion, where you can fill up your cup with milk the same way you can a bottle of water, or just like kids see out in the stores for a soft drink, but milk. And last but not least is just some summer projects. Right now is a very good time to get some of those things in place. Marion County Middle School project classroom updates is moving right along. We're going to talk to ask the board about repaving some parking lots. And hopefully you've been following us on social media, and our gym floor at Marion County High School, the Roby Dome, had a beautiful facelift to the gym floor. And I also want to say the stage as well. And so for those participants of our DYW, I want you to know that that stage has been completed, and that we are partnering with DYW to also have some new curtains. And so it's just really nice to get some of those things out of the way, so that when we start school back and we start our sports programs back, our kids have fantastic, wonderful facilities. So I think it's quite a lot of it for the month of June. I mean, it is only June the 4th. It's kind of unbelievable that, it feels like March. Sadly, our kids have been gone for almost 3 months now, and we're going to work real hard to get a good plan together to get them back in school safely. And like I said with my Facebook Live with the judge, as we get closer to that point, and families if they have questions or concerns, we want to be there for them. We want to answer their questions, and we want to make sure that everyone feels safe. Our main purpose is to provide an environment where kids are in Believe Achieve. We understand that we have to be focusing on that whole child, and we are going to be very aware of their academic health, their physical health, and their social emotional health. And I think the key word right now, especially that a lot of people are focusing on, is that health. So, Mr. Chairman, that's my report.
Okay, thanks. Anybody have any questions? Certainly a lot of good stuff going on, and we'll keep working our way through the changing environment and be prepared and ready to go for next school year. So let's see, the next item is recognition of partnership. Do we want to go ahead and do that, or wait, or?
Yes, we'll go ahead and start. One of the things that Marion County Public Schools has had an honor to do is we've had a wonderful 21st century program. And we have been very fortunate to partner with lots of folks over the years. We actually started this program in 2001, and we were fortunate to be able to provide services to our students, and that was an after-school program. We're not a big, large city that has a Boys and Girls Club or a YMCA, and so we went after a wonderful grant. We went after a grant and 21st century. And when we started, we had a partner, and it was the city of Lebanon. And Mayor Crenshaw and the council partnered with us, and we had an opportunity to partner. And it's something that we have continued to wrap our arms around. And even after we no longer had the opportunity to participate with the grant, our Board of Education stepped up and they continued this program. And so what we have found is this has grown beyond just something that is about a 21st century grant. This is about partnering with the community and also partnering with families. And I think that family engagement piece is so important. We worked with civic groups to have a playground. We have basketball courts. It's the kind of program where there are children in the summer that have an opportunity to go to the aquatic center, and we're very blessed to have an aquatic center. Thanks to the city for that, and all those kinds of things. And as we are moving our facility from behind where the current courthouse is, which I believe, from what I understand, the city owned that at one time, and they were a partner, and now the county owns that. We felt like that since we were moving that program, because that building is actually going to be needed by the county for our sheriff's department, we wanted to take this time and to say thank you. And the physical court is actually meeting tonight, so Judge Daugherty cannot be there, so I plan to go to one of their physical court meetings and present that. But we are very honored tonight to have our mayor, Mr. Gary Crenshaw, and we would like to ask him to come up and accept a plaque. And we just want to publicly say thank you for giving us an opportunity to get a program started that just wasn't a one and done, but it has been an ongoing opportunity. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And physical court, which you'll do that probably at a meeting. Okay, item 3C, finance report. Do we have Miss Kokenauer with us?
Yes, I'm one arm less, but I'm here. I
The right arm to be down, right?
at least have my right arm. I can type with one finger.
There you
go. I want to first commend the finance staff because, you know, in short notice during this time of pandemic, they were able to relocate and work from home and office combination, and staff got paid, bills got paid, and we all found new ways to get things done. And so I just wanted to commend them for a great job. You look at the schedule for April, and if you scroll all the way down, I just kind of want to look at just as a whole for right now, you'll see, and go all the way down so we can see that. Right, okay. So overall, this year compared to last year, and we just have, this is April, so there's 2 more months to go here. We're down 7% from last year, or about 722,000. I looked at the numbers closer today because I just got May closed, and it looks to me like, and Teresa, if you'll scroll back to the top, we started the year with 6.5 million, and it looks like we will end the year with 6 million. And that's what the 6.524 is the number I'm referring to. And from what my projections, with just 1 more month, even though it's a large month to go, it looks like we'll end with 6 million. So I'm just going to go through the ones that are greater than 10%. I'm repeating some of this. Utility taxes, 16% favorable. So that's showing the positive economy that that's a pretty large increase, larger than I've seen in past years. Interest is favorable 11%. It's the same rate, but the balance were larger in some, like with the construction funds this year. And then the next larger variance is the Medicaid reimbursement, which is unfavorable, 44%. That's just due to the timing of when we were with Lincoln Trail, and we got a payment in last year that we don't receive anymore. The interfund transfers, the variance there is where we transferred capital outlay funds last year, pretty much the whole amount of $285,000 into general fund. We use it to buy buses. And so this year we did not. So that money just remains in capital outlay to use as cash for building purposes for the future. You would still have an option. I want to say this, and I'll check for sure, but I think you would still have an option to transfer it next year if you wanted to do that. So that's still there. The other variance, 76% unfavorable. That's just due to some omitted property tax we received last year, and it comes at random times. We also had preschool tuition last year, which we don't have this year. And then in the expenses, the larger variances are the 2,200 instructional staff support services with a variance of unfavorable 12%. And that is just some of the coding of the ECE staff. We still are spending the same amount in general fund for exceptional child education, which is about 2.4 million. The next is 2,300 district admin support, unfavorable 16%. That's also just some recoding, shifting from one department to another from the prior year. 2,600 plant operations and maintenance. What that's due to, that's unfavorable due to the asphalt that we put down this year. Community services, 3,300, favorable, 124%. We transferred some grant money to pay for leader meet expenses for last year. I'm sorry, for this year. 4,200 land improvements, favorable, 100%. Architect's fees were paid last year for our LPC facilitation. And now the architect's fees are really in that project, and they're paid by the project in the construction fund. And then the last variance fund transfers, 5,200, of unfavorable 315,000. In March, we transferred all of it's a bond fund transfer. We have one bond that's for that energy management bond that we pay out of general fund. And the timing of when that's transferred, that's why that variance is there. It's going to be very close to what it was last year as we end the year. And then our cash balances for this April 2020, 9.1 million. Last April 2019, they were 9.8 million. I won't go over all of the variances for the funds unless you want to ask me any questions, but food service last year was 129, I'm sorry, last year was 250,000. This year is 129,000. But when you look at next month, it's a big switch, and we had probably double what we had last year. So no longer really worried about food service because I think we'll have the 2 months that we were able to do summer feeding and collect quite a bit. So then in July board meeting, it's pretty quiet as far as finance specific things. The August one, we'll be preparing for setting the tax rates. We will get an email from KDE, and I never know, it's either that last day of July. So it's usually it may have to go on September. Depends on when we get that email that you all have seen that tells what the 3 different rates you can set and what they would generate and all that. So hopefully we'll get that by July, and you could put it on your August board meeting. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was Ms. Sasha and I were discussing, and she asked the question about the SFCC offer. As you recall, middle school had this offer that we needed to use, kind of the free money kind of thing. And it's every 2 years it comes from School Finance Construction Commission. And so the next deadline that you would have to meet is January of 2022. That would mean you'd have to sell bonds by January of 2022. The annual amount for 20 years is $42,383, which would bond around $500,000. And that's all unless you have questions.
We would just need to have something in place by January of 22.
And before that, because you would need to sell bonds by that date.
Yeah, it's similar to the timeline would be similar.
Yes, yes.
Does anyone have any questions for Ruth Ann? Okay, so you think that we're going to end about $500,000 below last year?
Yes.
Okay, so that was considering all the improvements we made and all the additional things we did. We were expecting a lot more of a spend down than that. So that's going to work out really good. That's going to work out really good. Okay, if no one has any questions, we'll let Miss Ruth Ann go, and hopefully next time we see you, you'll be without a sling.
I'll hang around in case there are other questions. You just won't see me.
All right. So let's move on to item 4, student learning services. 4A is the first reading of 2020 policy update number 43 and procedure update number 24. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that? Okay. So I need a motion for, need a motion for 4B.
This is Jim. I move that we consider approval of the fiscal year 2021 appeals. That's not the appeals panel committee, is it?
Yeah.
Appeals panel committee.
This is Carrie. I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 4C.
This is Carrie. I'll make a motion that we approve the revised 2021 certified evaluation plan.
This is Peggy. I'll second it.
Any questions or comments on this item? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 4D. I'll move that we consider approval of Marion County Athletic Program reentry.
Carrie,
Jim,
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this item?
So after this, it will go before the Lincoln Trail Health District for their approval and comment.
Yes, ma'am.
And this just goes through June, correct? Though I'm assuming they'll come out with another plan later in June that kind of goes into July.
That is correct. Right now, our only guidance that we've received from the Athletic Association is actually through that time period. I have the information I've received that we will get additional information around June the 15th that week. And so once we get that, then we will go into that phase 3.
Okay.
So it may be necessary for the board to actually have a special call meeting to actually begin with that phase 3.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 4E.
This is Jim. I make a motion for consider approval for LPC community leader to fill a vacancy.
I believe you have to name somebody, Jim.
Oh. I make a motion for Jonathan Bowles to fill the vacancy.
This is Carrie. I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion or questions on this item? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 4F.
This is Carrie. I will make a motion that we consider approval of Kaylin Reed's resignation as a board member.
This is Peggy, I'll second.
Any comments or questions?
I just want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Reed for his service on the board and let him know that we wish him the best of luck in his role as a circuit court judge.
And we also want to invite Mr. Reed back to a board meeting where we actually can present him with just a small token of his service to us. And I would rather wait and do that when we have an opportunity to do that in person.
Yeah, and I would just echo Ms. Truitt and Ms. Slosser both. We certainly wish Kaylin the best of luck in his new endeavor and appreciate his service. And when the conditions are better, we'll have him back to give him his due thanks. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5A.
This is Peggy. I make a motion approval of pay application number 4 for Marion County Middle School addition for $41,019.71.
This is Jim. I second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5B.
This is Peggy. I'd like to make a comment before you do.
Okay.
I wish to withdraw from this vote at this time.
Okay, Peggy abstains. I'll move that we consider approval to accept bids for half-acre tract of land surplus off Corporate Drive.
This is Carrie. I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Now I need a motion for 5C.
This is Jim. I move that we consider approval to award the bid to
This is Peggy. I'm going to abstain from this one and the next one.
Okay. It's SNS.
yeah, S&S. So I guess we have the only bid that we got, correct?
Correct. I'll second. Any discussion, questions?
Do we feel like this bid is a good bid? I mean, it's $5,000 for a half acre, so that seems pretty good.
And yes, that's what the state KDE set the minimum bid at. It had to be a fair market price, and that was the minimum bid. So it does meet KDE standards.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5D.
This is Carrie, I'll make a motion we consider approval to accept bids for paving Knights Way and Central Office parking lot.
This is
Wow.
Peggy. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Scott, is this, we can do these projects separately? Or is he available?
Yes. Scott, are you
Here,
there?
here I am. You could, but the way we bid it was to actually award, if we do both jobs, award to one contractor. That way it can be done at the same time. That way we don't have two mobilizations, so it would cost more if they bid it individually.
Scott, who have we used for our other paving projects?
So in the past, last year, for instance, when we did Glasscock, West Marion, the bus garage, we used now in Hayden. This other group, last year, they were just getting started. They just getting going. They picked up the bid last year, but did not respond. But they feel like they've had a year experience, and they did respond to our proposal this time.
Okay. So we need to award, when we do the next item, we need to just award it as one. We need to combine the two.
That's correct.
All right. Did we get a second on this exception?
I believe
Okay.
Peggy did.
Peggy? Okay, okay. Any other questions on accepting the bids? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5E. I move that we consider approval to award the bid for paving for Knights Way and Central Office parking lot to Brady and Hayes Paving.
This is Carrie, I'll second.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Need a motion on 5F.
Peggy, make a motion, consider approval of Otis Data Platform contract for fiscal year 20 for $31,158.
This is Jim. I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Could you explain it a little bit?
Yes, we actually have been talking about this. Peggy, if you'll recall, we were talking about the data system platform that puts all the data in one place. That would be our map data, also our ACT, our assessment data. So if you are a teacher, that you have all of that student data in front of you. We were talking about how it would save time and give us another way to determine personalized learning that we can give students. So,
Right.
and I do have Ms. Badgett here if you'd like for her to speak to it as well, if you have other questions.
Any other questions? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5G.
This is Peggy. I make a motion to consider approval of establishing a position for lead school psychologist.
Carrie, I'll second.
Questions? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5H. I'll move that we consider approval of job description for lead school psychologist.
This is Carrie, I'll second.
Any questions?
This is Jim. To Laura, will the lead psychologist, will they be out of the central office?
No, actually, they will not. It's a district program, and those folks work in just different schools. They typically will have a landing spot. Their landing spot will actually be at the high school. They were actually housed last year in the community ed building, but since, like we talked about earlier, the sheriff's department was needing that space, they're actually going to go to the high school. And so they work closely, obviously, with some of our staff, but that's where they'll actually be housed.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5I.
This Jim, I make a motion to consider approval for revised job description for school psychologist.
I'll second.
Carrie, I'll second.
Any questions?
Is the revision simply to kind of realign things because now we'll have a lead school psychologist, so this will take some of those duties and put
Yes.
it on another plate? Okay.
Yes. So our school psychologist will report to that lead psychologist. Yeah. Just want to make sure things align.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5J.
Peggy, I make a motion to consider approval of 2021 school fees.
This is Carrie, I'll second.
Questions?
I didn't see any changes marked. Are we staying in line with where we were this year?
Yes. And just want a reminder for our students that actually qualify, and I know that all of our kids now are on free and reduced lunch, but we do have a household income form that students still participate in. So in the event that they qualify for free and reduced lunch, there is there's a waiver process that we go through, and just want to remind parents of that. And so we also make sure that that's available when we do our registrations.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5K.
This Jim, I make a motion to consider approval for school activity fund budgets.
I'll second.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion for 5L. I'll move to consider approval of fidelity bond for board treasurer in accordance with KBE regulations.
Peggy, I'll second.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for 5M.
This is Carrie. I'll move that we consider approval of the revised 2021 salary schedule.
This is Jim. I second.
Any questions?
What responsibilities or job duties does the energy manager have?
Well, they have a lot. Actually, that started out years ago, Carrie. We were actually a part of the co-op, and we did those kinds of things in a co-op, and we had somebody that wasn't actually in our district. And so then when that went away, that co-op piece went away, we actually assumed that duty, and it is just what it sounds like. It's actually a way to ensure that we conserve energy. We have energy teams at each school, turn the lights off. We don't have extra appliances where they shouldn't be. Obviously with our heating and air system, so that those things are turned down. Just trying to find a way to conserve energy so that it puts more money back into our general fund budget. And it's been a successful program, recycling, different things like that. So just basically monitoring those things. And Scott has done a lot of work with that, so I'm sure maybe he can give you more details. But anything
Now,
I can.
is there an energy manager, like one for the entire district, or is there one for each building?
Actually, there is one for the entire district. That is just one. And then what we have is we have some point of contacts at each building.
Okay.
This is just, I just want to say, it's very hard to look at this camera, and you all are over my right, so I don't know which camera to look at. So I hope I'm looking at you, but it feels awkward because you all are over to the right. But yes, this is only one.
Okay.
I'm looking at them up there. I don't know. Where is the camera?
I'm just ready for us to have
Right here?
normal, or, yes.
Okay. That's what we said. Next time, next month, we'll social distance and come back in this office. Any other questions on 5M?
I guess, so the energy manager, that is kind of one title, one sole job. It's not, do they have other responsibilities outside of that?
It's what, that was just a supplemental payment for that particular job duty. So yes,
Okay.
It's not that there's just one person and they do that and that's their sole salary.
Okay.
So we created this job is what we did?
Actually, what we're doing is just being transparent and putting that on the salary schedule. I mean, we're just making that a line item on the salary schedule. So it's something that we've been doing, I'm going to say, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, over 10 years. And we just wanted to put it on the salary schedule to make it, because that's something that that's a stipend, so to speak, that we're paying, and we just wanted to make that.
So this was in like buildings, this was in with buildings and grounds and transportation, or
Say that one more time.
was this included in like buildings and grounds and transportation or something else?
So is the director of facilities typically the energy manager, or does that role fall to somebody else?
That's what it has been in the past, yes.
Everybody good? Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion for consent items 6A through V. Almost the whole alphabet.
I'll try to get to Z next time.
We get the double A. And
I've seen it double A, double B, double C.
sorry.
This is Terry. I move we approve all consent agenda items 6A through V.
Peggy, second.
I do want to add, on item E, there's a Walmart community grant application, and we actually have a high school teacher that's applying for that. And their purpose is they would like to do an outdoor garden. That wasn't actually a part of the application process. They just wanted permission to apply. And
Cool.
then,
That's a good idea.
yeah, especially now. And then also, we've got several Leader in Me contracts here, and there is a difference in those prices, and folks may wonder what that is, but CES, Calvary, and Glasscock are a little bit further along than LES and Marion County Middle School, so that's why you see a difference in prices. And the longer you're involved in that project, then the more ownership and ability each school takes. So some folks may actually have questions about that. Are there any other items on the consent that you all have?
Real quick on item O, the food waste reduction with the compost, was that kind of in conjunction, like a county or city partnership, or will that just be through the school system?
Well, it's a USDA grant. And I would actually have to pull that out to see what, I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah. When I read through it, it looked like it's targeted more through to like municipalities and that sort of thing. So I wasn't sure if maybe it's something we could do, you know, across the board to include that. And but you know, I wasn't exactly sure if being a school district if we would fully qualify.
I'm just gonna be honest, Jim, I will have to study more on that and get back. I mean,
Yeah, I thought it was. I really like it. And I thought it was really neat. And if we could get that, I think it would be really neat to move forward with.
right, and you know, hopefully, it says on here, you know, it talks about the folks that are eligible like county governments, but it also says any school that serve grades kindergarten through 12th grade.
Mhm.
So, you know, we should know whether or not we receive the grant by the next board meeting in July.
Okay.
And by then, if we do, then I'll make sure that I can do a better job of answering your question.
No, you did. You did fine. Did fine.
Thank you.
Any other questions on any of the consent items?
No.
Going on. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Item 7, acknowledgement of personnel actions, so acknowledged. Need a motion for adjournment.
It's Carrie. I make a motion, we adjourn.
I will second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Have a great
Thanks,
day.
everybody.
Thank you all.